Hey, this is Time Bomb, and if it's your first time checking out the channel, hit that subscribe button to catch all the updates. Thanks a lot for joining me here today. I just found out today about this Madden 20 news that dropped. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's a bunch of information that came out that I thought I would go over with you guys today. It actually looked, pretty promising, I think. So first of all, they dropped a new trailer, which, had no gameplay footage, only actual NFL footage and like some scenes they shot for it to promote basically this next wave of players. It seems to be what the game is all about. With a few new of the modes, it's about superstars and developing superstars. So first thing that came out is that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the cover athlete, which makes sense. He was a breakout star last year. I mean, when you have someone who could replace Vic as a quarterback, I think that's pretty impressive, right? Because everyone's running Vic all the time, but Mahomes was, at times this year, a better option than Vic had been. So that's pretty impressive. He was able to replace him. So making him the cover athlete makes sense. Hopefully he doesn't get that Madden curse as well. He's already had it pretty rough with that AFC loss, but, his first starting year. It's pretty incredible. So Mahomes is the cover athlete, and he's the starting QB. And let me just go over some of the details that we saw here today, basically, that they dropped. NFL superstar in Madden 20. Feel like an NFL superstar in Madden 20. Be the face of the NFL franchise with the new QB1 mode. And the QB1 mode is basically, you create this player, and then he gets drafted to a school. So college as well now. Well, colleges are involved, so they must have gotten some licensing deal, which is interesting. Who knows what that means for the college games, but they have that licensing with the college players in some way, and I guess it's because they're all custom players. That's how they're doing it, to just using the license, the school's name in that place. We'll see how that pans out. And then from there, you go into the bowl games, it seems, and if you win there, it basically puts you in position for the draft, and you do the scouting combine, and then how you do in the scouting combine affects how you get drafted. And then you start your career in the NFL, where you get drafted. You played a Super Bowl, and you live your legacy. So it's a big system now that they've implemented, which we'll see. Maybe that'll add a whole bunch more players to the game, and we'll see how maybe they implement that that superstar mode in that. And the whole thing is you're developing them into these superstar modes, because now players have these new abilities. Basically, here I'm going to go over the new ability system spotlights the league superstar, and that's kind of what the trailer was going over too. How they're like, it's my time to shine. It's because players, the NFL the last few years has big time been about superstar players making big performances, like they talk about Khalil Mack and seeing Mahomes go off, and just the Rams and the Chiefs in general, the way that they had such explosive, exciting offenses. So I think that's kind of what they're trying to implement a bit more. And what they kind of talk about is that now players will have the superstar and the X factor. So superstar is like one ability, basically. So there are 70 superstar abilities in the game. Some players have none, some have multiple abilities. These abilities are shaped by real-life player skills and in-game player archetypes. Thus, you aren't going to see a slower, bruising running back get abilities related to more nimble backs. So it's basically what they're trying to do is, again, go beyond the stats. Now, it's tough to say if this is going to help their bottom line or if it's going to help our players or the archetypes, but it does seem like a positive, because here's, like, for instance, here's an example. The slot machine ability gives the receiver better separation at the line and catching ability versus contact for short routes from the slot position, which is, pretty technical, but that's a good thing to have, though. I don't know if I can imagine if there's like a wheel route coming from a slot and you kind of like have him quick there, then he has, even if he is kind of covered, then he has a higher chance of making a play on the ball. But then they should also have counters as well to them, so you could have like a slot CB who maybe has a coverage boost at the line, so then it really comes down to a dice roll again. So that's interesting in how you build your team. Pocket QBs like Tom Brady, the protected ability, get more time in the pocket from their offensive linemen engaged in blocks during drop back passes. So, that's something that people have kind of wanted for a long time, is that pocket passers become more viable if they get a boost kind of like this. Because obviously, what's the point of using a pocket passer if you can't escape the pressure? But this way, the pocket passers with that ability get an additional boost of time in the pocket naturally from having that. So that's an interesting skill. I could see that. I could see people genuinely going away from speedy QBs that they can, if they can get a boost to the line like that. We'll see how that will be counteracted with, defensive players being able to get past that. So it always does have if they balance it properly, I guess that would be the thing. We'll see how that works out, because you give a lot of people enough time and suddenly they're able to make a lot more reads. The reads they couldn't make in 3 seconds, they are able to make and get off in 5. So that's an interesting one. Some are dependent on time in the game situations. For example, Brady's clutch ability not only reduces the requirement for him to get in the zone, which is an interesting, we'll talk about the zone in a second, but also makes it impossible for him to be knocked out of the zone halfway through the 4th quarter in a close game. So let's talk about the next thing we see here. Counter abilities. So superstars abilities are just the start. There are plenty of great players in the league, but there are also those who are cut above. Those are called X Factor players. X Factor players have at least 2 superstar abilities, but they also have a zone ability. Let them get in the zone, like we talked, the state that the athletes talk about, where their skills are extra heightened. At the time of writing this, there are about 28 offensive X-Factor players and 22 defensive ones, with no special teamers or offensive linemen among them. Okay, so it's specifically star players, I guess, for that reason. And X-Factor players have to play themselves into the zone for the zone ability to activate. So if Juju Smith catches 4 rat catches for 20 yards or more, he's in the zone. So that's pretty awesome. And then he has different animations that open up to putting him in the zone. So, I mean, it's interesting, I guess. If they're trying something new with this, I could see, you can see this kind of happening where you call the right play, you have defenders in the position, but then they're getting these special animations so that they beat you. I could see that getting glitchy and annoying. I would imagine they probably won't include that in some modes like salary cap, but wow, that's definitely big that they're adding something like that. So they're not just in franchise mode or play now too. These are in Ultimate Team and the new face of the franchise mode. This should shake up what players in Ultimate Team, as well as help you further define your QB in franchise. In regular CFM, abilities for draft prospects are tied to their development trait, so you'll have to keep an eye on the abilities as you are scouting. Then you can draft them and watch them mature and unlock their abilities. So I think that the reason that they're doing this, for a big part of the reason why they're doing this, is because it's going to make a lot of teams more viable in like straight up regs, just because they'll have these different abilities, I think, worked into them, and you'll find different combinations that might work to your play style a little more. So that's very interesting that they're adding that. X Factor players have at least 2 plus their single zone ability. It might be harder for X Factor players to get into the zone in the competitive gameplay style versus arcade, for instance, which makes sense. X Factors and superstar abilities are included in Ultimate Team player items as designated by an additional tab on the player item. So they're still developing this. They're kind of letting us know, kind of getting us in on some early deep details of it. Some players with superstar abilities also have special animations, like Aaron Rodgers throwing on the run from his tiptoes. And abilities are highlighted on the field and in pre-play menus so that both sides of the ball can see them. This includes being able to chart how close a player is from getting into the zone. So you can kind of add additional coverage or defense to make sure that you're able to defend against getting into the zone. So that's interesting that they are giving it kind of a lot of like counter abilities, or at least making it known what's happening against you so you can kind of make the right decisions. I mean, if that's going to happen, you may as well double cover. If Juju's on 3 of his 4 rat catches, you may as well double team him and do everything you can to make sure he doesn't get to the 4th, because that can be a really big problem for you. All right, so we're looking at just kind of a list here of some of the modes that I was just kind of going to go over here. Franchise, simulate a full NFL career. It's pretty much the same. Ultimate Team write-up is the same. So the Superstar X Factor playbooks are calibrated to be more unique from team to team, providing more variety for strategic game planning and in-game adjustments. So we'll see. We'll see if that does pan out. I think everyone kind of wants some more versatility in their playbook. At the same time, I would have preferred for my Bills playbook to stay exactly the same. So we'll see what happens there. But it seems like they're trying to address the Patriots playbook being so overpowered. Run pass option. So that's something that people have really wanted them to be a little tighter, and they didn't want to really implement it until they could do it right. So run pass option plays are now available to call, bringing even more NFL authenticity. It's an on-field trainer, learn how to improve. New pump fake mechanics. Pump fake to specific receiver and fake out defenders with the new double tap throw canceling mechanic. So hopefully this isn't as bad as the what was that even called? The throw accuracy thing that they tried to add in a couple years ago that did not work, where you had this like little icon you kind of moved around. NFL Pro Bowl. Play the annual Pro Bowl, which I think is new. I think they've been missing that for a few years. Superstar-driven play calling tailored to the superstars on your team to quickly get your stars involved when you need them the most. And new celebrations, a bunch of new celebrations. So they are, I mean, at least talking about adding a bunch of things to the game. They have tried here to make some changes, especially to the team building aspect, it sounds like, from what they're doing with the in the zone and the different X factor and abilities that they seem to have here. So it's going to be a different game for sure, and we're going to have to think about things a little bit differently with the team building. They didn't mention anything about power-ups or training. What I'd like to see is for every base card in the game to be a power-up card. That's what I think would be the best way, and then every card that you have would be a path. There was also, I don't know why I missed this, but there was also one mention of basically a new Ultimate Team mode where you can build your team with your friends to unlock players. So hopefully we'll see some more on that and some more Madden 20 details and gameplay footage come out in the next little bit. So thank you for checking out this video. I'll be giving lots of Madden 20 news as it's coming out and breaking it down for you, giving my opinion. Thanks for checking this out. I've been Time Bomb. You guys are awesome. I will catch you later.